Hey, what's up guys? Houston here. Look, I'm going to tell you the secret to fixing your credit report for free. That's right, I'm going to tell you how to do it for free. Now, the reason that I'm going to tell you how to do it for free, because a lot of you guys have been signing up with these programs, and you've been in these programs for 6-9 months, and you haven't been getting any results. And there's a reason you haven't been getting any results, and one of the reasons why is because most of the people that are fixing your credit, they may not be using the proper laws and statutes. That's right. If they're not using the proper laws and statutes, most credit bureaus and creditors may dismiss your account, okay? And also the way that they actually challenge the account. If they're doing it electronically with the credit bureaus, okay? Here's the thing about it with the credit bureaus that you need to know. With the credit bureaus, they're going to look at the name. They're going to look at the address. They're going to look at the account number, okay? Now, they're going to look at those things. They're not looking at payment date. They're not looking at transactional date. They're not looking at verifying with the creditor. That's them saying, hey, we done verified this. Now, how have they verified it? All right, there's a statute that makes them properly verify it. Now, here's the thing about it that most people don't know. Which statute? That's right, which statute? Now, here's the thing about it. A lot of these people that are fixing your credit, they say, oh, I can fix your credit. So they'll go with the challenge the credit bureaus. But here's the problem. They may use the wrong law to challenge the credit bureau. So you have the FDCPA law, you have the FCRA law, then you have the consumer law. So you have different laws that are actually that you need to challenge in order to remove certain things off of your credit report. All right, now the first thing I always tell people, if you're going to be challenging your credit, you need to go where the bank goes to pull your credit report, okay? And so if you need to go where the bank goes, 90% of the banks go, click the link in the description, get your real credit report so you know exactly what the banks know. All right, because the banks are going to look at your mortgage score, your credit card score, your auto loan score, your personal loan score. So they're looking at all of this stuff that you have no idea. So you may be familiar with a FICO 8 score, but you may not be familiar with a FICO 9 score. You may not be familiar with your FICO 10 score or your 10T trending score, okay? Or your mortgage score that some credit card companies use, your 2, 3, 5 mortgage scores that they actually use to give you a credit card. Okay, so that's the reason most people, they'll pull their credit report from these companies, say, oh, go here and pull your credit report. The thing about it, they're looking to try to assume you're going to get these results right away. And what that means is that they're going to companies that's going to give you results because they're using Vantage. Vantage picks up information faster than with FICO. Okay, so of course your credit score may go up immediately, usually within 48 to 72 hours. With challenging negative items, things can come off your credit. But what happens if that stuff doesn't work? What's happening? Well, the first thing what they should be doing is locking your file. That's right. Now, many of you all heard of locking your file, but did you know there's actually 9? There's actually 9 file locks you should have on your credit file. So you have the 3 major credit bureaus, right? Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. But did you know you also have your Lexus Nexus, your CoreLogic, which also associated with SageStream, as well as Innovis. So that's 6, right? Now, you have other data that's out there, financial data that the credit bureaus own as well. They own Factor Trust, which is owned by TransUnion. They own Clarity, which is owned by Experian. And they own DataX, which is owned by Equifax. So where somebody tell you, oh, lock your file, you may lock the 3 major credit bureaus, but you're not locking the other files that they're going to send this information. Yeah, it's been verified. Name, address, account number. So now you're like, hey, what do I do? All right, this is the reason why I tell you there's certain laws for each account especially how you're going to deal with it. If you're going to deal with it with the credit bureaus, then you have to use the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Okay, if you're going to deal with the collection company, you're going to use the Fair Debt Credit Practicing Act. Okay, now if you're going to be doing it with both of them, you're going to need your state statutes. You're going to need your state statutes. So this is the problem. Now, where does the CFPB comes in at? Your Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. All right. Once you implemented those other statutes and you don't get a response, now you have to go to the CFPB. All right. Now let's talk about something about these non-credit bureaus. What you need to change. The first thing you want to do is update your address, phone number, employment. You need to update that. And one of the main conspirators in this that third-party data is coming from is like Lexus Nexus. Especially you guys that may have attempted to get a bankruptcy, file a bankruptcy, but you never went through it. But the courts have filed it or whatever. So Lexus Nexus actually picks that up through PACE. Okay, so PACE shares that public information, but the courts do not share that public information. So Lexus Nexus picks it up from PACE. PACE sells it to the credit bureaus. So that's the reason when you have these public records and stuff, it's not the courts that are putting this information on your credit report. It's that when PACE puts it in the public system, these other creditors, they pick that stuff up and then they resell it, which is illegal. Okay, so that's the reason you have to find out, okay, those are the 9. What's the main conspirator? Lexus Nexus. Now, with Lexus Nexus, you have to reach out to them and say, hey, who gave you the authority to publish this information? 9 times out of 10, Lexus Nexus is going to come back and remove it. The reason they're going to remove it is because they know that they illegally are reporting this into your file. This is what I mean about credit repair, people. A lot of these people out here saying, oh, I do credit repair or this or whatever, because they're not actually using the correct statutes and stuff. Now you're in limbo thinking that people are fixing your credit when they're not even actually using the right statutes and laws in order to fix your credit. Okay, that's the reason I'm giving you this stuff for free. If you need consultation on how to remove this stuff or your right statutes and stuff, set up a one-on-one 30-minute consultation or an hour consultation. I'll go with you line by line so you can know exactly. If we need to put together a letter for you, we'll put together a letter for you with the correct statutes and everything for you, all right? So that's the first thing in terms of removing the outdated names and addresses and stuff from those credit bureaus, all right? The second thing, do you need the Federal Trade Commission Identity Theft Report? Now, this is something that's interesting because most people are not even aware of this. 90% of people have had some type of identity theft, and the reason is because when you are with like cable companies, cell phone companies, different entities and stuff like that, when you signed up for them and they had data breaches and stuff, even like with the credit bureaus and stuff, you had your information breached. And because your information was breached, now you had identity theft. So you need to actually get one of those reports, and because there's information on your credit report that you don't even identify. You don't even know where it came from, knowing that it may not be accurate information. All right? So that's something that you really have to know. Now, next thing is, do you need a credit report? Well, if you file the Federal Trade Commission Identity Theft Report, yes, get the police report, because the police report will do the follow-up for the Federal Trade Commission Identity Theft Report. Now, here's the interesting thing about it. A lot of people that are doing these generic letters online and stuff, they end up throwing away your legal rights. Because once you do it online, it's automatically code. So if you're doing it through Credit Karma, challenging negative items, in which with Credit Karma, like collections and stuff, within 48, 72 hours, negative items will disappear like that. But that's not updating in the real systems that the bank uses, which can take anywhere from 25 up to 35 days for that information to transfer over. Okay, if it's accurate and investigated properly. All right, so this is the reason why you need to do things in a proper manner. Now, once you have the Federal Trade Commission report, the police report, you done updated your name and address and stuff like that, you want to send it over certified mail return receipt. The reason is, if you have to take legal action against the creditor or the credit bureaus, you have actual documentation. Now, another reason that you need this actual documentation, say that you need to file a complaint with the CFPB. You want to make sure you have all your documentation. But when people send it over electronically and you're waiting on them and you never got any notification from the credit bureau responding or anything like that, you have nothing to complain with. So you need documentation to show that, hey, this is what I have, showing proof that I have followed all the protocols in order to try to get things resolved, and they have not resolved these issues yet. Now, from that point, you're in full legal status to take them to court, whether it's the creditor or the credit bureaus, to take them to court and sue them, all right? Now, here's something else that you all need to know to help you fix your credit report. I know a lot of people are adding on AUs and stuff, and there's a lot of talk in the industry about whether AU is good for your credit and stuff like that. Authorized users, yes, they're good for your credit report. But here's the thing about it. Authorized users, if you're using FICO 8 financial institutions like Chase, they do not count authorized users, okay? They do not count authorized users. So if you have 4 or 5 authorized users and you have 2 primary, you still have a thin file because you have too many authorized users, which also flags the file. Okay, so also doesn't give your file credibility. Now with a FICO 9, you can do up to 3 authorized users. So your FICO 9 institutions would be like Navy Federal. Your FICO 9 institutions may be like Penn Fed, okay, that pulls Equifax. Navy Federal is TransUnion on the personal credit cards and loan, and on the business loans is Experian FICO 9. All right, so being able to have the authorized users to help you boost up your credit score, you could do that, but making sure they're going to be correlating with the right financial institution. All right, now another thing, if say that you have a spouse or something and they get a credit card and they add you on as an authorized user instantly, here's the thing about it. That's not going to help your credit file. Yes, you'll have a trade line on there, but it's not going to, because there's no payment history, there's no agent history, there's none of that on there to help the credit file, okay? Now, in terms of what helps credit file, when you have authorized users at least 3 years or older. You said 4 years, but even 3 years or older, no payment missed or anything like that. Also, making sure the utilization on those authorized users is less than 30%. All right, usually I tell people keep it under 10%, but 30% you're still okay. So you must have that, all right, in order to benefit from this. Now, if you have any question about removing negative items, adding authorized users, we offer that service, or we can explain it how it works properly. If you're trying to get business funding, personal credit funding, you need to click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation, okay? But those steps I just outlined, those are the steps that actually will help you build up your credit file, to fix your credit file for free. All right, so this is Houston with 3-Way Funding. We have a book coming out, but as soon as it come out, we'll notify you. But at the same time, if you have questions right away, you need a letter put together and stuff, schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.